Good evening and welcome to another edition of the R&R Sports Report. I am your host, Randy Isbell. With me, as always, Robert Hagan. And Robert, I figured, it's summer break. We're having fun. Find some random extra long countdown to jazz out to. You had a little bit of fun dancing in the background.
I felt like I was watching Night of the Roxbury, man. I was grooving out. I like that. I think that's one of the summer projects for us is to build that intro. I love it. So let us know if somebody's got an idea. Let us know. But I love it, dude. Love it.
Yeah, I just wanted to come up with something. I know 30 seconds isn't a lot as far as like allowing people to come in and get ready to listen to our show. And I wanted to do it this week because we are starting the show off with a massive announcement, and it's because of you guys. I want to be the first to thank you very, very much for getting us over 500 Facebook follows. It's ridiculous to think of how many people have followed us in 7, 8, 9 months. How long have we been doing this?
33 shows. So, yeah.
And I also want to thank Robert because he has been fantastic as far as running the Facebook page and adding in the news and especially with a lot of the local news that hits. He's been doing all the extra work there, and it is definitely helping us out. So Robert, thank you very much.
Dude, who would have figured? And a big shout out to these guys, Jesse Fisher, Dimitri Morales, and Brian McElroy, talking about their fights, going up to Conquest on the cage and all that. Who would have figured, just talking a little MMA local guys out of the Arnett wrestling area, and it just blew up our Facebook page this last week. You and I back and forth watching how much what I think on the one article I did about Brian being his first match, it had over 30 shares. 30 shares. That's just crazy. So thank you to Brian. I mean, we're doing stuff we love to do, but thank you for all of those folks, especially Brian, Jess, Jared, those guys and everything going on. So
yeah, absolutely. And again, that is 500 follows on Facebook, which means we have to live up to our challenge. And we will be taking on the legendary tennis coach Kai Fong on a 2-on-1 tennis match. I've already been back and forth with him in emails, and it will be, we haven't have an exact date and time set just yet. Keep an eye out on Facebook for that, but it will be the week of June 14th. Sometime at that point, I'm gonna try for Wednesday so we can kind of promote it the day before on the show. But we will see. We'll keep you up to date, but it will be that week because basketball will be done and Robert's schedule will calm down.
I think we need to take a second here. We all have to look at this really fast, and you have to see what he says. I think the best part is what Kai says in your email to you there, Randy. It says, that time's fine, but I'll be ready. My training kicks off today, dude. That all I can think is he's just toying with us. He's ready to run. I mean,
he doesn't need to train, but he is training for us. I don't understand, and I'm not going to be ready. Listen, we just bought a trampoline for the house, and I got on it for 2 minutes and was exhausted. So I cannot imagine what a tennis match with Kai is going to be like.
Well, and I was just looking too today. And now we're making excuses. I mean, I ripped the edge of my tennis shoes, so I'm gonna have to get a new pair of tennis shoes just to play tennis today.
Yeah, well, we got about a month, just under a month to get ourselves somewhat ready. We're never going to be fully ready, but we will see what we can do. On today's show, again, we're a day late, but it just let the news grow. I'm slightly sad because we could have reacted live to something really special. We'll get to that in a minute. But on today's show, we're going to talk about track and field having a fantastic Cascade Conference Championships as they get ready for nationals. The opening rounds of the NAIA World Series is going on right now. We have 3 teams locked in to the World Series that'll be here at Lewiston soon. We got some NFL news. Clarkson basketball just got started, which is why we are a day late. NBA playoffs kind of are going on. We'll talk about the opening round and whether we like that or not. NHL playoffs are going on, and we had a regular season game today, even though the playoffs are still going on. That was weird. And of course, your Aussie rules, your PGA, your bowling, your NASCAR. We even got horse racing again, just because there's too much stuff.
It's part of the triple. Yeah, it's part of the Triple Crown. We got to bring it up a little bit. Now we got a little time before the next race, so.
Absolutely. Let's get into the news that we could have been talking about live yesterday, and it is now 5 no-hitters in Major League Baseball. 6 for us because we count Madison Bumgarner. I'm sorry. I will continue to say that. However, Spencer Turnbull, who had the most losses in the majors in 2019, was one of the worst pitchers in the majors just 2 years ago. No hit your Mariners, sir. What do you have to say about yourself?
I just want to know who this kid is. I mean, I just don't know. I know. I don't know much about him. That's the thing.
9-25 career record, 4.49 ERA. That is who no hit your team.
Go figure. And for it to be the second one, and you and I talked. I mean, Seattle. I had him in the top for a little bit. Yeah. I don't know why I had him there because it was early. Yeah, I understand, but I'm just bummed. I mean, that's too. Do we change things up again? What do we got to do? Do we go and find us a new hitting coach? I mean, I can't even tell you who our hitting coaches anymore.
Listen, I got some fun stats for you. I have been building up. The moment last night that I heard the Mariners got no hit again, I have just been looking up fun stuff. Where do you want to start? Do you want to talk about history stuff or this season stuff? Which way do you want to go?
Let's start with this season.
How about there's only one team left? We've been talking about league-wide batting average over the last few weeks. There's only one team left who is under the Mendoza line as a team. I will give you one guess as to who that team is. Yesterday helped with this, by the way.
Yeah, it's going to slide us down there now. It's got to.
Yes, the Seattle Mariners are batting 199 as a team. On base percentage, 280. Also worse than the league. Just horrendous. Just horrible hitting. At least you don't lead the league in strikeouts.
No.
Yet.
Yeah.
You've struck out 400 times. It's almost 10 a game, but you're not the worst in the league.
Well, for me, it just boils down to are they putting in the extra time? And we're huge about that. And I watched a conversation the other day between Alex, and this was a couple years ago. It was an Alex Rodriguez conversation with Pete Rose, and they were talking about taking batting practice in infield. And when he was playing, and when he had a skipper that was there before him, if you didn't go out and take infield or take batting practice and take repetition grounders out there, you weren't in the starting lineup. Nowadays, tell me how many athletes actually go out and take grounders? That was part of the reason in the article or in the video, they were saying that's part of the reason why Don Zimmer retired, because it wasn't fun anymore. The guys weren't coming out to do batting practice and all that. So he's hitting ground balls to pitchers. I mean, you would think you would work on your game a little bit more than that.
And honestly, a lot of that too is, there's a very young team, and there's still a lot of prospects that they're waiting to bring up, and it's going to be even younger. And the people that are up there right now, most of them are just placeholders. So, I mean, this is to be expected. However, this has just become the Seattle thing.
Right.
The fact that both of these have been at home too is really, really surprising. Again, some historical stats for you. As we have said multiple times, this is the second time that Seattle has been no hit this season. It was 13 days since the first time. That means
did
they
see
are
that.
the second team in MLB history in 98 seasons. Excuse me. They're the second team in 98 seasons to be no hit twice in a 2-week span. The other team was the LA Dodgers in 2015. Dodgers also part of other history, as we talked last week, as Cleveland had been no hit for the second time this season. So this now marks the second time in MLB history that two different teams have been no hit twice in the same season. By the way, we're May 19th. We have well over 100 games left to go in the season.
Oh, I know.
But it was the Dodgers and Mets in 2015. The Mariners are the sixth team to be no hit twice at home in the same season. And there have been 6 no-hitters thrown in Seattle since 2012. That's twice as many as any other stadium in that span. I mean, we've always known that T-Mobile Park is a pitcher's park, but it's getting a little ridiculous, I think.
Yeah, it's way ridiculous. So, hey, but here's the thing. Even though we've got right at 400 strikeouts,
yep,
we're not leading the league in strikeouts.
Yep.
And
congratulations, I guess.
Well, congratulations to Eric. Well, we'll just leave it at that and move on. So, if you're listening,
I mean, if you want to lean to whatever stat that'll work out for you and push the blame to a different team, yeah, go right ahead.
Hey, you figured out what I was trying to do. I'm I work with 7th and 8th graders every day. I'm trying to push the blame somewhere, so might as well push it off to the Tampa Bay Rays. With that. So it's sad to see, not getting any bats going. I mean, we're 13 points behind the Indians. That's the big thing. But you look at the coaching staff, and I look at it, and normally you notice guys that have been around for a while, or you've noticed guys that used to be players that are coming in. Coaching staff for the batting, the batting coaches for Seattle are Tim Laker and Jared DeHart.
Not for long.
Yeah. How long?
Not for long.
I just don't understand either one of those two sticking around for too much longer. And for me, I just don't know who they are. I mean, just kills me.
It's sad. Hopefully we don't have to talk about it again. Hopefully they don't break a record and get no hit 3 times in a season. But again, they have well over 100 more chances to do it again.
And the bad part is, I didn't get to watch any of the game or anything, but it makes me wonder, and almost to the point I really want to sit down and watch Spencer Turnbull. Do I go back and rewatch the entire game?
He's not that good.
That's what when you have a name like that just comes out, that's almost like a nobody. It's just crazy. So I don't know. We gotta. Do we just clean house, and even with upper management, clean house, move them on, and go for
it? They're slowly working on that, I would think. Speaking of cleaning house, do the White Sox have to worry about their in-house issues after Yermin Mercedes, who is a breakout star? I mean, we talked about some of the younger players in the White Sox, as I had said, they were a sneaky World Series pick. I picked Andrew Vaughn to be my Rookie of the Year. You picked Nick Madrigal, and here you are. Yermin Mercedes is just right on the scene. Pads his stats a little bit yesterday or 2 days ago.
A little bit.
Just 3-0 pitch against the catcher Williams Astudillo. In a 15-4 game, decides to swing and hits a 46 mile an hour eephus pitch. We call that his fastball. And he hit it over the center field wall for a home run. And not only were the Twins upset about it, not only was Astudillo upset about it, but his own manager, Tony La Russa, in his press conference, publicly ripped Mercedes for doing it, saying that's not what we do. You don't show up to team. You know what? Call me. I mean, I know we talk old school stuff all the time, but the moment you put a position person on the mound, all these unwritten rules go away.
Yeah, it's
I would
almost like
rather hit. I would rather you swing at every single pitch.
it's almost to the point where they start licking their chops. There's like, okay, got a new guy in here. Let's see what we can do to him. I can see it both ways. Anderson was totally on board with your means comments about, the game's still going on. You play ball. That's the way they're taught. Play ball, play ball. But like you said, you and I are a little bit more old school. I might be a lot more old school than you, but like I said, I like to watch small ball, but it's the same thing. It's that unwritten
Listen,
rule.
I'm old school in the way that I like to watch small ball, and I like to see pitchers, paint the corners and everything there. But the unwritten rules anymore in baseball have just gotten so sad.
Yeah.
Just there. I mean, obviously, you get all these people talking about the new generation's a bunch of snowflakes and stuff. There's no bigger snowflakes than the old school baseball manager. Well, they get butthurt about everything.
I think what gets me is if you really think about it, you're already up. You're up 11 going into the 9th. Guys, you have to bat around at least twice to even think about having a chance, and you only got 3 outs. So, come on, get it done, get it over with, and get out of there. I can see why Tony La Russa is upset about it. But like you said, he's 70+ years old. That was his teaching styles from when he played, and I understand that. So,
should Major League Baseball add in a forfeit rule?
Ooh, I don't know about that. Do you give him a mercy?
Listen, yeah, I mean, not mercy where it's so many runs and you're done, but the other team can go, listen, we don't want to throw out another relief pitcher. We'll just come back in tomorrow and we will move on. Because there's 162 games. Obviously, managers are throwing out position players because they do not want to use their relief pitchers and get them tired in a game that they have no chance of winning. So that's why you're seeing a catcher out there throwing 46 miles an hour. So why can't we just go, you know what? We're down 11. It's the 9th inning. Let's shake hands, move on. We'll see you tomorrow.
Well, that, or how about we do what softball does? Maybe it's time to start looking at the idea of reentry. You have the reentry rule. You've got it at the high school level with baseball too. Let them reenter.
Well, you're not going to reenter another pitcher.
No, I'm just saying, why not? Why not? If this guy only came in for 3 batters, then we went to a different guy because of numbers. You went up against that switch hit guy and then lefty guy, but then you switch pitchers and bring in the righty. Why not bring the lefty back in after? You're never
going to sit down a pitcher and then ask him to come back out and throw again. That's the exact opposite of what they're trying to avoid right now.
I mean, it could be a possibility. I mean, a long shot, but it's a.
I don't see it. Speaking of more new school stuff, Shohei Ohtani now with a league leading 14 home runs as he hit another one on Tuesday night. He now has 4 home runs in his last 5 games. Oh, and by the way, he's 1-0 with a 2.1 ERA through 5 starts. He's starting right now as the Angels are up over the Indians 2-1 in the bottom of the 4th. Leading MVP candidate.
Yeah, you have to. I as much as I said and wanted to see the other one from the Angels team being the MVP candidate, it's got to be Ohtani right now. And even missing after getting plunked by my Seattle Mariners and getting hurt. So, yeah, you almost have to, the way he's doing it. And so in one facet, do you say, okay, he's MVP right now for batting? What about on the pitching side? I mean, 1-0.
No, he's never going to have enough pitching stats to be a Cy Young candidate, I don't think. But he's going to be extremely valuable, and that's why I think he has a chance for MVP. But as far as Cy Young goes, it's going to be really difficult. I'm trying to think of who I even would have in the American League right now, and I can't think of any. Like just straight up off the top of my head, but
Right.
I don't see Ohtani ending up with that award at all. Stick to the same team. Your MVP preseason candidate, Mike Trout, now out for most likely 2 months with a grade 2 calf strain. The Angels have no chance to make the playoffs now, right?
I don't. It, as weak as the Mariners are right now, and unpredictable as what Oakland, I think it can go either way. So I mean, it's gonna be difficult, but I think they might be at the bottom.
Well, I mean, I don't think they're going to be as bad as Texas.
Well, you're.
Oh, and Roberts is having grad kids in the room.
Yeah, he walks in. So those of you don't know, my grandson broke his leg this week, so he is all casted up, moving around. So, no, I don't think you look at the Rangers and all that. I think the Rangers have a not a good chance getting out of the cellar at all.
No, not at all. But as far as the Angels go, I think now they're kind of disappointed that they got rid of Pujols. I mean, they definitely could have used that bat in the lineup now that they've lost Trout as a very special guest. Now he has to do great things. He's been a guest on the podcast, right?
He has, and he's also the one that leaves us the mad face and the sad face a lot when he's
Right.
watching on the show. And he's already going to get out of the way. He's got the cast and on his way out the door here. So, yeah, I just don't see that division being too strong. But God, I don't know if you hand it to Oakland right now or you hold it at all.
Houston's still right in there. I mean, you look at it right now. I mean, again, we're 40 to 45 games in, so 120 games left. But I mean, the A's are only a game and a half out right now. I think it's between those two as far as that division goes. I don't think Seattle's going to be a contender, especially if they can't hit the ball. And Texas, I think, is the worst by far in that division. And now the Angels without Pujols and now without Mike Trout, I mean, for at least 2 months, it's going to be extremely difficult for the Angels to contend as well. Look at your MLB scoreboard so far. We have a no-hitter watch, which we have every week. Robert, can you guess who has a no-hitter through 5 innings right now?
Well, is it your Yankees?
I
know they were
my New York Yankees, and Corey Kluber has 5 no-hit innings, has walked 1, struck out 7. However, the Yankees only have 2 hits themselves, and we are in a scoreless 0-0 tie in the top of the 6th. The Giants, with their starting pitching this week, has just been absolutely insane. They are up over the Reds 1-0 in the top of the 9th. Rays and Orioles tied at 6 in the 8th. Marlins, Phillies in the top of the 8th. Marlins up 3-1 there. Mets over the Braves 4-3 in the bottom of the 7th inning. First place, Boston Red Sox over the Blue Jays 6-1 through 5. Nationals over the Cubs 4-1 in the middle of the 5th inning. Cardinals over the Pirates 6-0 already in the top of the 4th. As we said earlier, Ohtani on the mound as the Angels over the Indians 2-1 in the bottom of the 4th. Brewers and Royals tied at 2 in the 4th inning. Still to come, you have the Astros and Athletics in a great series. Diamondbacks and Dodgers, and we'll see if the Tigers can no-hit the Mariners in back-to-back games. That will get started in about 40 minutes.
You just want to keep adding fuel to the fire, don't you?
Absolutely. And already completed, the White Sox beat the Twins 2-1 by a great start by Lucas Giolito. And the Padres blanked the Rockies 3-0. So we will keep an eye out on this possible no-hitter by the Yankees. I don't see it happening, or at least Kluber making it all the way. He's 62 pitches through 5, and I don't see them letting him go past 100.
No, I don't either. So they've got to really attack him here right now, or it's going to be over.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, you hit a key thing in those scores is listening to what's happening in San Francisco, and they are just looking. I didn't have them in the top three. I mean, I had them top three. You look at that division, but who would have figured that pitching staff would come out the way they are this year?
Yeah, Gossman here today, 6 innings pitch. He only gave up 1 hit, walked 2, struck out 8. And that seems to be the line daily for a Giants pitcher right now. They surprisingly do not lead the league in ERA. That's actually the Padres. The Giants have the 4th best team ERA. But I bet if you looked at the last 2 weeks, it would be them right now. I mean, just what that pitching staff's doing. Can they continue it? It's going to be a whole different question. I still think they are the 3rd best team in that division, but if their pitching is anywhere close to what it has been so far, they are a huge wild card contender, if not a division contender, even with the Dodgers and Padres in that division.
Yeah, and you're 100% right. The only thing when I was looking at power rankings is I did my power rankings on Sunday, but I finally put them in the computer there yesterday, but I had them figured out through Monday and didn't think that, this week was going to start the way they did. And they've just been just almost, I hate to use the term automatic, but that's what it seems like. Every start they've come out, they've just looked that darn good. And another solid one today, 6 innings. I mean, get them into the middle relief guys and to the closer and you're done. I mean, they've just looked good. And I mean, 1-0 game. So I think right now, if they falter any, they still got a great chance of getting to the playoffs as a wild card team.
The Giants, though, they got to figure out their hitting a little bit. They're very home run centric, which, again, that's all of the majors right now.
It's everybody.
But tied for 2nd in the league with 58 home runs and only batting .225 as a team. So I don't know if that's going to be able to last them, but we will see. Let's get into our power rankings. Before that, actually, we'll quick update on our drafted teams that we had at the beginning of the season. I did gain 4 more games on Robert. You still have a 4-game lead, but still, that's just because you've played more games. I'm over 500 and you are not, but there's a good 1,000 or so games.
Yeah, I'm a
couple thousand games left.
I'm 3 games under. You're 3 games over. So
it's fair. It's much closer than what basketball ended up being.
Let's
just say that. All right. Once again, the power rankings this week, complete reshuffle for both of us. What do you got?
You're going to be proud of me, but I'm going to bump your Yankees up there. They're going to make the top 5. Yes, you're welcome.
I don't buy it yet, but thank you.
Yeah, they just looked really good. I believe they are 20 and 16 right now, as Ohtani gave
23 and 19.
But. Yeah, as Ohtani just gave up a home run to Bowers. Great shot there by Ohtani. It got that game going on right now. Hit a curveball, knocked it out of the park. But I just like the way they're starting to turn things around. But it's like we've talked. We're still only 40 some games into this. We got lots of games yet to go. I think we'll finally get things shuffled around, but I still have them in the 5 spot. San Diego is looking quite well. Chicago, I do move up from where I have them in the 5th spot. They have just been playing really good. 3 great rookies, and then St. Louis, I keep them at number 2, or I move them up 2 spots to number 2, and then I keep Boston in the number 1 spot.
It's too high. It's too high for Boston. In fact, I don't even have Boston in my top 5. My top 5 are as this. I had the Cardinals at number 1 last week, dropping them down to number 5. And it's not really anything that they are doing. It's just there are other teams right now that are just more red hot. So even though they are 6 games over 500 and have a 2.5 game lead in their division. Again, power rankings in baseball right now, there are so many teams that deserve to be in this top 5, and every week it changes. The one team that actually doesn't change for me is Oakland. They stick in my 4th spot. Fantastic record, 9 games over 500. The thing that still gets to me, their run differential is -7. Their expected win-loss record is actually supposed to be under 500 right now. Now, again, that works in their favor, as they're not supposed to be winning these games, and they're finding a way to get it done. And if they can get things going, all of these extra wins are going to start adding up for them for sure. Number 3 for me is the San Diego Padres. As you said, they are getting things going. They've won 6 in a row now, 9 of their last 10. This is the team we expected them to be.
Mm-hmm.
Which is what we're still waiting on the Dodgers. Dodgers now starting to get things going after they had a couple rough weeks. They're building it back up too, but the Padres are number 3 for me. San Francisco Giants and that pitching staff are number 2. 10 games over 500, 7-3 in their last 10. I don't know if a starting pitcher's given up more than 2 runs in the last week and a half. It's just been ridiculous what those guys have been doing. So they are number 2. And give it to those Chicago White Sox. Yes, the extra home run and blowing out Minnesota the other day has helped this, but they lead the league with a +73 win differential, which is just insane this early on in the season. I love their young bats. Andrew Vaughn is starting to pick things up a little bit. Giolito struggled early on. He looked fantastic today. If they can get both sides of the ball, pitching and batting going, they're going to be such a dangerous team. So they ended up as my number 1.
So with that being said, then who would you put in your bottom 3? Just because we did talk, we've said the name Texas. I think we both agree Texas would have to be in the bottom 3. Who would your other 2 be?
Colorado is a no-brainer. They're doing exactly what we expected after their trade of Nolan Arenado. They just look completely lost out there.
And that's a tough division. They're down 12. They're down 12 games right now too.
I mean, that's a 3-team race in the NL West anymore. Arizona could still battle around 500, but I don't think they have that much talent. But Colorado is going to be one of those teams that threatens to lose 100 games in the season. As you said, I'm still going to have Texas in my bottom 3 right now, though there's a couple teams that probably deserve it more. And the other team I'm going to put in my bottom 3, and it really surprises me. And part of it is injury concerns. Part of it is some of their veterans are really showing their age, which a lot of other teams are not. That's the Minnesota Twins. They look completely lost out there. 13 games under 500. That was the team that I believe you picked to win this division.
I did, and that's why. And I'm very, very shocked about that. And to be 11 and a half games back to the White Sox, we knew the White Sox was going to be, a possibility of getting in there and being a wild card. But right now, I think that might be. Could I say hands down the worst division in the MLB right now with Detroit, Minnesota? I mean, and then you look also at Kansas City below 500 too. I mean, Chicago is the only one up 10 up 10.
Yeah, I mean, Cleveland's over 500. Yeah, Cleveland's over 500, but I don't believe in that team either. You could be right. The AL Central probably is the worst division in baseball right now.
Yeah. That's almost a no-brainer there. So,
and I make fun of you for saying the Twins are winning this division. I had them as a wild card team. I believed in this team too. So they by far probably the most surprising team so far.
Yeah.
What else you have in your bottom 3?
The only other one that I think I would probably add to that would probably have to be. It comes out of the AL Central. Is Detroit, but on the other hand, I mean, look what they did to my Mariners. I mean, Hello,
Is that bitterness talking that you're putting in the Tigers?
exactly. I kind of feel that way. That might be the bitterness coming out, but they haven't been all that good. Yeah, they've won their last two. Guess who they've won them against? But they also 10 games back. You're not going to stay in a division race if you're 10 games back with just already we're 40. Some of them 42 games in, 44 games in, depending on where you're at. And to be 10 games back already in mid-May, it's scary to see what that division's going to look like in about a month and a half.
Right. I definitely do not see a wild card team coming out of the Central anymore.
Does that affect? So then here you go. Does that affect your rookie of the year? Both of us took our rookie of the year out of that division with Chicago.
No, because both of our rookies of the year were from Chicago, so I don't think just because their division sucks, I don't think I hold that against a rookie. That's for sure. Let's move on to some LCSC news. As not as much to talk about as most of the seasons are now winding down, but the track and field team had a great weekend in the Cascade Conference Championships. Let's look at day one, and straight off of coming and visiting us last week, Clayton Van Dyke goes out and wins the 1500. Also, friend of the show, Cole Olson and Connor Turpin finished 1-2 in the 10,000 meter. Olson set the conference championship record, and both Olson and Turpin both would have set the school record. It's just Olson got there first. Geraldine Correa finishes second in the 1500 meters, so she wins all conference. Riley Brown finished ninth. They both had PBs in that event. Brooklyn Shell just missed out on all conference, finishing fourth in the 3,000 meter steeplechase. And then you had the 4x100 meter relay team finishing fourth. That's Nikki Halbert, Rebecca Kalbach, and friends of the show, Carly Smith and Annika Grogan. And Ashley Britt finishing fourth in the 100 meters, with Caleb Moore finishing fourth in the 110 meter hurdles. So a pretty good day one for the Warriors. And then they just go out and top it, as Maddie Carson goes out and becomes the first LCSC Warrior to win an individual Cascade Conference title in a field event, as she wins the pole vault. Cynthia Smith actually finished second in the event, so Warriors finish 1-2. Ashley Britt goes out and wins the 400. Rebecca Kalmbach finishes second in that event. Sarah Hathaway finishes fourth, and Keelan Pilcher finishes fifth. So that's 4 Warriors in the top 5. And then Britt and Kalmbach are joined by the friends of the show again, Grogan and Smith, as they go out and win the 4x400 meter relay. Remember when we had Carly on, she said she loved the 400, and it showed for sure in this event. Geraldine Correa won her second all-conference honor by finishing second in the 800 meter. And Kia, how do you say this last name? Stelz?
Yeah.
I apologize, Kia, for not knowing how to say your last name, but she earned conference honors by finishing third in the javelin. And Clayton Van Dyke then goes out and he wins the 800 meters by almost 4 seconds. He set a facility record and a school record with a time of 1 minute and 51 seconds, 0.83, with Cole Olson finishing third in the 5,000 meters, Leon Menton finishing third in the javelin, and Ike Hopper finishing second in the 400 meter. So just a fantastic day by all of the Warriors. And now they have nationals next Wednesday through Friday. So we'll kind of give you a little preview of that next week. On the schedule, there's not much. The Women's NAIA Golf National Championships will be next Tuesday and Wednesday. So hopefully we'll have an update through the first day on our show next week. And the NAIA opening round will finish tomorrow for most of the brackets. We do have a few that have finished off today. Couple interesting notes. Corbin, who was the Cascade Conference representative because LC had the automatic bid, they did get eliminated in the Santa Barbara bracket after they lost both of their games. And number 3, Cumberland's gets eliminated after they lost both of their games. So a top 3 school goes to the opening round and loses, which is why I'm really curious to see what happens with LC next year as they lose their automatic bid to the World Series. Again, there will be 10 teams in the tournament, Robert. So far, you will be seeing the number 5 LCSC Warriors. Of course, they're making their 39th appearance. This will be the last time they get that automatic bid. You will also see the number 12 team, IU Southeast out of Indiana. They clinched their spot today after they beat the number 1 team in the country, Tennessee Wesleyan, twice in the opening round. This will be their first appearance in the NAIA World Series. I'm sure that scene over there was ridiculous today.
Mm-hmm.
And also the number 2 team in the country, Southeastern, making their 3rd appearance. They had been in there 2018 and 2019. The other 7 spots still up for grabs. You have games going on right now between Vanguard and Faulkner and Georgia Gwinnett and Hope International. Everything else gets concluded tomorrow. A lot of these names that I've been mentioning, very, very familiar to residents of Lewiston when it comes to the end of May. Who do you want to see again in the tournament, and who do you want to find a way to get eliminated before they play the Warriors?
I can answer the get away from is Faulkner. Faulkner is always a big one. But I'm highly impressed with the Georgia Gwinnett team. I'm excited to see those guys come back up here. I'm really pulling for them. They should be able to beat number 14 Hope International. But I just love
you
the
have to
coaching
beat them
staff.
twice.
Yeah, right. And the coaching staff. I love that staff, how they were so involved with their players. You know, watching them walk around the field, they were there scouting the entire time. And then a few of them I saw leave and come find out that they were working where they went and did some workouts over at Lewiston High School. So, I mean, I just love the way that they're coached, and I'm excited to see that team come back. Cross our fingers.
Some score updates for you out of the 2 games that are going on now. Like I said, Georgia Gwinnett has to beat Hope International today to be able to force a 1-game playoff tomorrow. They are currently in the 8th inning, and Georgia Gwinnett is up over Hope International 11-4. So there is a very good chance that we will see a game tomorrow between those 2 teams. And also Vanguard and Faulkner going on. Vanguard in that same situation where they have to win today to force a game tomorrow. They are in the 4th inning, and Vanguard leading 2-0. So far, both of those games getting ready to push to tomorrow, which means we could have 7 must-win games tomorrow for these teams. And I am very nervous for all of them, and I'm excited to be nervous like this as a Warrior fan next year when the Warriors have to go through this. Listen, we have the number 1 team in the country and the number 3 team in the country already out before they even get to the World Series. So as it has shown, no team is safe. So definitely check out lcwarriors.com. I'm sure they will have a full lineup of the 10 teams that make it. If I remember tomorrow, I will try to update our side on the page, or Robert can, because he's way better at that than I am, to give you guys information on the teams that will be coming to Lewiston here at the end of May.
We'll sure try, as lots of things happening right now. Is Clarkson basketball's back, enjoying that. But I think I'm more excited to see how LC knows that this is your final team of getting that auto. How are these kids going to react next year? And we had the opportunity to talk with the ball club, different players. We've had Riley in there. He's going to be back. AJ, I believe he said he was coming back. I'm excited to see what this team does, but they're going to have to play in to get in here next year, especially, number 5. That's the best they've been in a long time. So,
yeah, it's one of the best offenses I remember seeing out of the Warriors in a long time. So I'm excited to see how they play in the World Series. I'm also really curious to see how the atmosphere is going to be with the limited seating. We'll see if that loosens up a little bit before game time. We still got a little bit of time. I know a lot of states are opening up even more. Washington's supposed to be fully open up next month, so we'll kind of see how that goes. All I know is I get to do PA for one of the games on Saturday right now, as we got our PA schedule out, and then most likely I will be doing my best to watch as much as I can after that. So yes, David Johnson, this is the last year where they get in automatically for being the host, which, as much as I love to see the Warriors in the World Series, and as much as it's so great to see that place jam-packed for a World Series game with the Warriors, I do get the criticism. To get automatically put into the final 10 teams every year and not have to worry about that, or worry about having to get upset in the opening round, or have to get through your conference just to be able to get to that opening round, I understand, and I'm totally fine with it.
Yeah, I am too. I mean, we look at some of these games, especially if you want to take a jump and go to Omaha. I mean, Omaha has been the site for the national for that division, and no automatic there. So it'll be interesting. Lewis and Clarkson has come down to being, you're the NAIA site, and I hope it stays that way.
What is it? Since 2000? We've had it since 2000, right?
Yeah, we had a break in between a couple of years, but I mean, I remember as a kid in the early 80s going to, yes, I said early 80s, going to LC and watching the game. So I'm excited, and so I want to see them have to work to get in it. And as much as I love my Warriors, it's gonna be nice to see that.
Yeah, and it'd be interesting to see if we even get opening round hosting. I would doubt that, since we have the World Series. They would want to spread that out a little bit, but time will tell. But right now, let's move on to some quick NFL news, as Aaron Rodgers' watch has continued for, what is this, week 3, week 4? What are we at? I don't even know. Nor do I care.
I think it's 4. Wasn't he making a statement today or something?
I don't know. I don't pay attention anymore. But the Green Bay Packers have already found his replacement.
Again.
Right? Blake Bortles signs with the Green Bay Packers. Hey, Blake Bortles has led me to a fantasy championship before. I go down by 28 points and throw it 50 times. It's going to help you in fantasy. Brian Hoyer re-signs with the New England Patriots. Is that just as like do they think Brian Hoyer is going to be better to coach Mac Jones than Cam Newton?
I just want to know what the chicken is going on. You got 4 guys there. You got Cam, Mac Jones, and now with Brian Hoyer. I like the idea of Brian Hoyer being there to help out, but I just don't know. And the other one is Stidham that's there. So I mean,
obviously all 4 are not going to make the roster.
Which tells me I think Stidham might be going bye-bye within probably the next month or so.
Yeah, and keeping Hoyer around could show that Belichick does not want to rush Mac Jones, and if Cam Newton gets hurt, Hoyer would step in instead of Mac Jones. We've seen that precedent before, so that'll be interesting.
You just never know with Belichick.
No.
We all know, we've all seen his press conferences. He keeps everything to his under his hat. He doesn't want to share out too much. So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting once we see him finally retire. What'll happen with that?
He will never retire. He's a vampire. He's going to outlive us. He and Betty White are just going to continue to roam the earth after we die. But quick update: the Yankees no-hitter is now through 6. Kluber went 1, 2, 3 in the bottom of the 6th inning, so we could still see another no-hitter. I mean, it's still a long ways away. There's still 9 outs to go, and I'm over here jinxing it every 5 minutes. But if you can't have fun watching baseball, I don't understand. Antonio Brown has knee surgery on Tuesday. Perfect time to do it. Kind of skip out of some of these off-season activities and stuff, right?
And all they did, supposedly, doctors say, was just to clean up. He was a
Yeah.
little tender as a
Hey,
clean. I'm gonna cut into it. I'm gonna clean up the area a little bit, But
hey. At your old age, you get some junk in your joints. You got to clean it out a little bit.
yeah, they did say it was going to require at least 3 weeks. That gets him out of all those OTAs. But he hasn't. All it's been is an agreed contract. He still has not signed until
He
after he
will.
has his physical. So it'll be interesting to see.
Tom Brady will just ask him nicely, and then he'll sign it. I mean, that's just how that works.
Right. Well, you look. He only had 45 catches in 6 games during the regular season. Then he goes into postseason and ends up having, I want to say, it was like 8 catches for 100 and some yards and a
Yeah,
touchdown. In the postseason. So he might be
that's,
that reliable source.
yeah. I mean, he's a great number 3. Yeah, he would be the best number 3 receiver in the league because that team, Tampa Bay looks so good. All right, let's move on because I've really been excited about this. Of course, the NFL schedule was released last Wednesday, so we have had a week to simmer and look and game plan. First off, just because it's the closest and it's the most relevant. What did you think of week 1? Did they do us right in week 1?
For the most part, I think they got most of it right. I was still a little shocked with the Seattle one, and maybe it's just because they're traveling back to Indianapolis. I would have thought they would have went a division player, a division team right off the bat. I do like that. I love seeing the division matchups right off the gate, but they're not. They're not doing it this year with that one. That's the one that I think that really shocked me. Yeah, Hawks Colts. What is that? Exactly, David. Yeah, what's a Seahawk anymore, right? Yeah, I think that out of all of them really shocked me. No, no surprise with Tom Brady being the Thursday night game.
Oh yeah, I mean, again, you win the Super Bowl, you get Thursday night. That's just how it works. I think and obviously putting Dallas there. Obviously, I don't think the NFL was really worried about ratings, but if they were, they're not worried about that game. that game is going to bring in all of the ratings for sure. I actually really like the Seattle Indianapolis game. I think that's probably your most intriguing morning game matchup because I think the Colts are going to be really good. And that defense is very good. They have a great running game, some good wide receivers. It's just whether Carson Wentz can find something or not. I think Philadelphia did him dirty. I think that offensive line was complete trash, and he had zero chance to throw the ball. I think you get him in a better system with Indianapolis, with a very good running game surrounded around, Jonathan Taylor, with a decent offensive line. Give him time to throw the ball. I'm not going to say he's MVP levels, but I think he'll be even better than Phillip Rivers last year.
I agree, but they've got to keep, like you kind of touched on it. They've got to keep the offensive line healthy in Indianapolis for that ball club to succeed. Yeah. Their defense, like you said, their defense has looked unbelievable. So I think they'll be over a 11-win team. I don't think so. I think they might be a 10-win team. So, but only time will tell.
With the extra game, it is so confusing to put out win totals anymore. It's like, yeah, I think they can win 10. Well, that's still 10-7. That's not that great.
As well as that defense is set up to win, I could easily see that defense being, maybe top 5 defenses. I mean, you still got to look at the Rams. Rams are going to be a unbelievable defense. I think after these first weeks of OTAs are done and workouts, I think we'll get a good idea of what some of these defenses are going to look like.
Obviously, the game that I will be watching week 1 is Sam Darnold going up against his former teams, my New York Jets. I think that is the NFL did that perfect, putting it in week 1. I don't think anyone cares in Week 10. So let's see what Sam Darnold does against the Jets. We'll see what Saleh does as a new head coach. I don't like the Jets' chances in that game, but we will see.
Yeah, it'll be an interesting one.
And then, of course, Monday Night Football, sir. Your Baltimore Ravens in prime time against the Las Vegas Raiders, which I called. I didn't get the opponent right, but I said the Raiders had brought in the stadium last year, weren't able to have fans. They were going to give them the big game here, and they do. But how do you feel about your Ravens opening up against Gruden?
Well, I think you hit that exactly right, but I think it's the same thing with the Rams game. Give it to them. They're opening a new stadium. Give them a night to show everybody the game. With Chicago going to LA and looking at what is that SoFi Stadium?
Yep.
That's the name of that one. And so interested, but I'm jacked. I've got a buddy that lives in, and I shared this with you earlier, and I put it in our notes. It might be happening. I might be making a road trip down to Las Vegas.
Does he have tickets already?
He's working on them already. He lives in Montana, but he's a driver. He drives long haul rigs. He drives tow trucks. He can drive. So I mean, I'm good sleeping in the cab, and we drive down for a game and back. But
I was just asking because according to Vivid Seats, do you want to guess how much the cheapest ticket is right now?
Not there. If it's anything like Seattle is, I even looked at one of your New York Jets games. And I think the cheapest New York Jet game I saw was $100, and that was nosebleeds. I'm thinking brand new Vegas, you better figure on a couple $100 for nosebleed.
Vivid, again, this is Vivid Seats because it's what ESPN shares with. I'm sure StubHub has something different. The cheapest seat available for the Baltimore Ravens, Las Vegas Raiders. I just want you to give me a number.
I've $214.
Higher.
No. Come on, can't be that much higher.
Higher.
You're telling me like $300 now?
Way higher.
That's crazy.
$847, according to Vivid Seats, is the cheapest seat you can get right now.
Well, you know how it is to get a ticket. We couldn't get tickets when we went over to Baltimore, Seattle, and your Jets in Seattle until what was it, like the end of July. So,
but on the same week, if you would like to watch the Chargers play in Washington, you can get a ticket as low as $49. So there you go.
It just kills
you're going to the wrong game.
Yeah.
People are trying to say that the Raiders in Vegas is not going to work. Those are going to be the hardest tickets to get by far. They're going to make so much money there because everyone is going to schedule a trip, schedule their vacation to go to Vegas and spend a week to go watch the Raiders, and they will spend whatever they need to go do it. I mean, they will never have issues selling out that place.
Probably not. And you're right. That's just one of those destination places. I mean, I've been looking to try to get Dad to go down to a NASCAR race, for the last so many years, and even their prices for NASCAR are just ungodly. But I would not put. I don't know. I wouldn't put $800, but but that's a little crazy.
All right, sir. I gave you a task, and I want to see how you did. We're not going to do the whole season because that would just take too long. So let's do the first 4 games. Jesus, can I talk anymore? The first 4 weeks of the regular season. You have unlimited money, unlimited travel needs, everything. You are allowed to go to 1 game in each of the first 4 weeks. I want to know your travel plans, sir.
My travel plans, and I have to say it. Go ahead, just type it in there. Just say Homer right now. Homer is as I want to go. I want to go to Vegas. I want to go see Baltimore go down and play Monday night game. I mean, what better way to look at that stadium for the first time, with hopefully a fair amount of fans in there. That's got to be week 1, and then I'm going to charter and catch a flight, go all the way back across, and yes, I'm going to Maryland. I'm going to go eat, have crab
Now
cakes,
you're really
and
being a homer.
I
Back-to-back
told
Baltimore
you,
games. Are we
back
just
to
going
back.
to? Are you just going to list off the first 4 Baltimore games? Is that what
No,
we're doing here?
actually, no,
Okay.
and I think you're going to get shocked when I tell you week 4, but no, week 2, you got the 2 best quarterbacks, I think, in for the last couple of years playing against each other. It is Mahomes versus Jackson. I mean, I'm looking forward to that, especially with Hollywood Brown. Did you see that one? Hollywood Brown now is changing numbers, going back to his old college number. He will be wearing number 5, Joe Flacco's old number. Nobody's wore it since, so he is taking over that number in Baltimore. Yeah, I hope it doesn't
Who
jinx us.
who throws a better pass, Joe Flacco or Hollywood Brown? It's an honest question.
Yeah, no kidding. But I have to go Baltimore. I mean, go back there. You can't tell me that's not the best game, and it's a Sunday night football game. So we're going to go back to back Monday night prime time back to back. So week 3, I'm going to come back across the country. I'm gonna log some air miles. I need some frequent flyer miles.
There you go.
I'm looking to see how um Aaron Rodgers does in San Francisco. Jimmy G, what's going on with that situation? Kyle Shanahan, John Lynch being up front with Jimmy G during this whole thing with them signing or acquiring Trey Lance in the draft. I'd like to know what happens if there's a chance of seeing these guys play, and this might be the last push for Aaron in Green Bay. So, and in week 4, and back on the plane. I'm going all the way back onto the East Coast again. Take me up to Buffalo in the end of September. They're going to be taking on, of all people, Houston. And you wonder why I say Houston. Here's the reason why. With everything going on now with Deshaun Watson making his comments today, well, not really even making comments, with his video on his Instagram today and him working out. He's 4 weeks in. How does that ball club handle a big team like Buffalo? I think Buffalo is still going to be another great team there in the AFC East. So I love that matchup. And yes, I know, and I agree with David Johnson. Week 4, Bucks Pats is going to be a great game. I agree with that 100%. But I want to see how Deshaun grows, or if he's even playing. And then by this time, Josh Allen, he's 4 weeks in. Is he got his timing in? I think those 4 games, and yes, I'm a homer the first 2 weeks, but those are my
All right.
first 4.
Decent 4 games. Decent 4 games. I'll give you that. Anybody listening right now live, before I get into my first 4 games, I would like to know what you guys would do. Unlimited money, unlimited travel. What are the 4 games that you would go to, one each week? Let's get into mine. And I did mine a little different.
Okay.
I wanted good games, of course, but mine were experiences. I wanted to experience things. And I'm going to start off with a very good game, which I think one team got completely hosed by the timing of this one, because one team is ridiculously good at the beginning of the season, and that is the Kansas City Chiefs, as they will host the Cleveland Browns. Remember 2020, we didn't have fans for most of the season, and we had fans, it wasn't much. I want to be in Arrowhead when fans return for the season opener. I want to be a part of that. I think that would be really cool, and I think that's going to be a big game. Obviously, Cleveland fans are going to be trying to build this up in themselves, and then the Chiefs fans are going to go out of their way to try to shut them up. I think the crowd will be nuts, and I think it'll be a fun offensive game. So give me Cleveland, Kansas City, week 1. Then,
Yeah, I like that. The Arrowhead, one of the loudest stadiums. That's on a bucket list for me. So I like your strategy so far.
The next bucket list, though I'd like to have done this later, but give me the first game at home for the Green Bay Packers on Monday night against the division rival Detroit Lions. Now, this could happen next year for Haley and I. On the schedule next year is the New York Jets at the Green Bay Packers. So we are already talking about possibly making that our 2022 vacation trip to go watch my Jets get completely crushed unless Aaron Rodgers gets traded, and then the Jets might have a chance. But again, division matchup, Lambeau Field. It won't be negative 40 degrees, so I might be able to survive. Yeah, give me that. I know Haley wants to go in December, but I'm totally fine with a September Lambeau Field trip. And then I'm sorry, I'm not a fan of this team by any means, but I have to go watch a game in Jerry World. I want to go see that giant screen. So again, give me a divisional matchup. It won't be a pretty game. Give me Jalen Hurts versus Dak Prescott, Philadelphia Eagles at the Dallas Cowboys. I won't even sit in my seat. I'll sit somewhere, eat food, and just watch it on the big screen. I just want to experience that ridiculous stadium. And then you said it earlier, and so did David Johnson, but week 4, you have to. Tom Brady going back to New England. Tampa Bay, New England. Absolutely. I have to do that. And by the way, Kluber now through 7 as he struck out 2 in the bottom of the 7th inning. Now has 9 strikeouts, has thrown 85 pitches through 7. Yankees lead that one 2-0. So I will keep an eye out on that. I will also keep an eye out to see when Seattle gets their first hit, if they do, in the next hour. They are in warm-ups right now, so we will keep you up to date there. So listen, the NFL did a great job of spreading out big games throughout the season. Obviously, everyone, when we're talking about week 1, is trying to pit all of these big matchups together week 1. NFL, no, we're a TV schedule. We want you to be hooked 18 times here in this regular season. And it shows where both of us, we never overlapped. And we're able to all have very fantastic games to go watch.
Mm-hmm. And that's the thing. I mean, you look at some of those ones, like you said, week 4, Bucks Pats. That'd be a great game to go. And I didn't think of it the way that you did, almost of a way to, this is where I want to go. This is where I want to be, for a game. And let's go to New England in September. I'd gladly go to New England in a September game instead of December. But yeah, Jerry's World would be nice to go to. But you look at some of these places, where would be the number one place to go? Have you ever been to MetLife and watched a game there yet?
The only football games I've ever watched were with you in Seattle.
So both of them,
where we watched Baltimore and we watched the Jets both get crushed by Seattle. That was my NFL experience. I've been to multiple major league stadiums, but as far as NFL goes, it's only been there. But honestly, for me, it's Lambeau. I mean, there's so much history there. And Haley is a big Packers fan, so I think it would have to be Lambeau Field for me if I had to pick one.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to go there too. I actually work with a staff member that has family that has been season ticket holders for many years, so he has season tickets. And we were actually talking a couple weeks ago during the archery state up at Lincoln Middle School, or actually nationals, and we had the opportunity to talk for a few minutes, and him already looking at what games he's going to get to go to now that he is retiring this year, and so being able to go and fly back east to watch them. So be interesting. I think that one is on a bucket list for me. And it's still kind of like the same idea that you and I have that our buddy, Chris Carpenter's done. He's went to how many different MLB stadiums. There's got to be a bucket list with some of them. And the reason we pick them is because of the history part of it. I mean, I want to go to as much as I'm not a Dodger fan, I want to go to Chavez Ravine. I would love to go. I think the only reason I would go to New York would to go and see Shea and see the new Yankees, the newer Yankee Stadium. But I mean, I want to go to Wrigley. That's
Yeah.
my hands down. My bucket list is to go to Wrigley, and so. But you look at these new places. Where do you want to go now? Do you want to go to SoFi, or do you want to go to Vegas and see these crazy stadiums that are so state of the art? It'll be interesting.
Yeah, and as far as baseball goes, I'm with you. I really want to go to the new Yankee Stadium. We almost set it up to go this weekend. It would have been great to go. It's a big series with the Yankees over with the White Sox, but I decided, as far as my first Yankees experience, I want it without the restrictions. I want the full Yankee experience. So our vacation, we're doing Vegas this weekend. It was the first time I've been there. We did that because restrictions in Vegas were supposed to have been up at the beginning of the month. They moved it back to June, but what can you do?
Yeah.
Nothing ever goes as planned, right?
Yeah, as long as you get to go down and maybe duck in and to the bowling stadium there at South Point, maybe watch. Maybe there might be a pro or two down there.
Yeah, well,
you
we'll
got the
definitely check
opportunity.
that. All we have scheduled for this weekend for our time in Vegas is we are eating lunch at Hell's Kitchen. That's all I got scheduled. That's all I got. Everything else, we're just gonna go by the seat of our pants and see how it goes.
Yeah, and that's one thing. Denise hadn't been down there in years, and we went down to bowl a few years ago. We did do Wahlburgers, and then we were right around. The hotel was right next to Wahlburgers, so it was kind of nice to do that. Yeah, I'm jealous too, Eric. Yeah, trust me. But I'll be bowling that. I think I'm bowling nationals next year. We'll see how that works out. So
it just is funny timing because Haley and I a couple weeks ago have decided to try to eat better. Like not crazy diets, just trying to eat better and eat a little bit more healthy. And then here we go to Vegas and Hell's Kitchen is just going to blow that all up.
Yeah, and Gordon Ramsay, any of his stuff is good. We've done. Denise and I had the opportunity to go to one of Guy Fieri's places in Laughlin, and so he's got a great restaurant there in Vegas. So you'll have to try that one out too.
Mm-hmm. All right, sir. Let's hear a little bit of high school sports as basketball's gotten going.
Dude, and first of all, I love the idea. Thank you, Randy, of talking about it earlier. Is things have just blown up over the last couple of weeks, and why we're bringing you things today. Basketball is back. Even it's weird to say basketball high school May, but it is back with a vengeance, and we're gonna duck into Asotin basketball first, and then we'll get into Clarkson basketball. But the boys started things off last night against Upper Columbia, winning by 10, 56-46. Preston Overberg looked really good. He led the way with 12 points. And the girls tip off today for their first game, 6 p.m. And then the boys will chip tonight at 7:30. So the girls should be about done. Haven't seen a score update yet for that one, but they're getting their first action. And then both of them play Northwest Christian on Saturday. Girls tip at 4:30, boys at 6. So excited to see things happening here area-wise for basketball. And
before you move on real quick, I just saw stats. I got the Yankee game up on the other monitor. One of the good things about doing this at home for the summer is the multi-monitor setup. They just put up a stat that just blows my mind. So Kluber has a no-hitter through 7. He just got out there for the 8th inning. This is the first time the Yankees have gotten a no-hitter into the 8th inning since Phil Hughes in 2010.
That's crazy.
That was shocking to me. Obviously, they don't play the Mariners very often, so they can't get the no-hitters.
Yeah, that's crazy numbers. And yes, right now the Mariners are about ready to go into the bottom of the first, so hopefully we get a hit.
If they get some hits.
Yeah. But we're back at it. Basketball and the Clarkson Bantams, let me tell you, both ball clubs came out firing last night, and big wins to the point of both of them. And I didn't tell you this, Randy, both of them running clocks in the fourth quarter. So they were already at a 40-point lead in both ball games that they were able to start the running clock. But first off, we'll start with the girls. Like I said, they came out quick, and Kendall Wallace, Ashland's sister, freshman, comes away with 2 quick steals and sets the tempo right away. And the Clarkson girls knock off Colton Wildcats 83-44. And let me tell you, Colton's nothing to bark at, because Colton has got a great ball club. Coach Vining has done some great things with that group of ladies, and I'm excited to see what Colton does. But it was nice to see them play up. Now they're 2-1. Colton is on the season, but it was nice to see that happen. The Bantams come out. It was 12-3 after the first 3 minutes. And this, Randy, Coach Debbie Sabota's defense. It is always on full blast, full court traps, and 100%. But guess who led the way? Idaho signee Ashland Wallace comes out, leads the way with 23 points, but 5 players in double digits. 5 players for the Bantams in double digits. Besides Ashland Wallace, you had Samantha Chatfield with 16, Erica Pickett and Alyssa Whittle, who is a very quick speedster running down on the wing. Both had 11 points, and Maggie Ogden with 10. And then 8 of the Bantams scored. 8 of the 9 scored, and so and 5 of them with double digits. They will be playing tomorrow night, which I will be at. We'll be PAing. They're making up the game against Rogers. That was supposed to be the team they played on Tuesday, but with COVID situation in Rogers, they were not able to. So they will be playing Rogers Thursday, and then both the boys and girls will be playing Othello on Friday night, taking on the Huskies. Girls tip at 5:30, boys at 7. And just a few minutes later, the Clarkson boys come out the same way. A little less fiery to start things out, but by the end of the first quarter, it was 12-2 Clarkson, and then they just just took control. It totally different ball club. Last year they had 8 seniors, so a little bit younger this year with a few juniors, and only 3 seniors this year. So it was kind of nice to see those guys doing that, as they put up 25 points in the third quarter. Clarkson just did not look back. 9 of the 10 eligible players found the scoring column. They were able to score quite well and quite easily against the Rogers team. Mason Van Dyke led the way with 13 points. Xavier Santana and Conrad Dudley both drop 11 in that one, and beat Rogers 64-21. Again, the boys will be back in action on Friday, 7 o'clock against the Othello Huskies. We're going to turn our attention really quick up to Pullman, just because they're in the GSL. They looked really good, and a lot of positives coming out of that. The girls knock off Shadle Park 61-41 under the new head coach of Angie Barber. Looked really, really good. Megan McSweeney had 26 points, and Michaela Uhlencott with 10. I think the tough one, though, is Coach Brantner for Pullman. Picks up the loss, and it was a heartbreaking loss as Grayson Hunt hits 2 big free throws with 20 seconds left, and then Shadle Park gets the ball, works their way back down, and hits a floating 2-pointer with 5 seconds left to come away with the 55-53 win for Shadle Park over Pullman. So, dude, I'm excited, man. Basketball in May, high school. The only thing that's been tough is it's been 4 months crammed with all high school sports, between basketball, wrestling going on right now. There's a huge wrestling tournament this weekend at Clarkson High School on Saturday. Unfortunately, I won't be able to make it, but I will be watching. I believe I will have it loaded up on NFHS and watching it there, and watching those athletes. But great to see these, especially these senior girls, Samantha Chatfield, JC Hernandez, and Ashton Wallace, being able to get some games in, along with Dawson Packwood, Wyatt Chatfield on the boys' side. I'm excited to see things happen.
Quick update. I already put it on the board here. Corey Kluber now through 8 innings of no-hit baseball. Gets a quick 1-2-3 inning. Great scoop by Gio at third for the second out. So we'll see what happens. He's close to 100 pitches now. But I guarantee you now that he will come out for the 9th inning. Let's get into some basketball. I know we don't talk a lot of hoops as far as the pros go here on this show. Neither of us are the biggest NBA fans, but it is now playoff time. So it is now time for me to congratulate Robert for winning our draft that we had at the beginning of the season. He beat me by 36 games.
Wait, and does that include me taking your New York Knicks, who did really good?
That was a big reason. That was, who would have known the New York Knicks would be a 4 seed in the East? Definitely not me. They, like I said, their playoffs are getting going with their little play-in tournament that they've thrown in this year. I'm curious if it sticks after this. They put it in just because they had 72 games this season instead of 82. What do you think of this play-in tournament?
I'm not sure. I don't like the idea of them, the 8-9 playing against each other to switch the seeding around. I tried to take a look at that bracket again today.
So basically,
during lunch, I'm looking at that thing and it's just like, okay, no.
So basically, this is how it works. So 7, 8, 9, and 10 all go into a little tournament. The 7th seed and the 8th seed play each other. The winner is the 7th seed. The loser drops down, and they would play the winner of the 9-10 game. And then the winner of that game would be your 8th seed. So if you're the 9th or the 10th seed, you have to win 2 games to make it into the playoffs. If you are the 7th or 8th seed, you have to lose twice to be eliminated from the playoffs. But other than that, you're just trying to go for seeding. I kind of like it as far as just the weird mix of it at all. It kind of reminds me of a bit of how Aussie Rules does their playoffs, where the higher seeds, for the first game, they're just trying to skip around. And if they lose, they're still in, while the bottom guys have to continue to win to move on. So that's kind of interesting. And I also like that it's just 1 game series here, so the other teams are not waiting forever.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting. I mean, other people will probably get all butthurt by it, but it's fine.
I think the only one that's going to shock me, and maybe it's just because of part of the injuries and all that, there's a chance that the Lakers go against Utah, who's been on fire.
There's a chance that the Lakers don't make the playoffs at all.
Yeah, I mean, sitting at 42-30, or they could be sitting in the 7th seed going on Phoenix. Who would have figured? We didn't, either one of us really have Phoenix in that idea, but I mean, it is intriguing a little bit, but I mean, how bad do I feel for Memphis and San Antonio, where they're at, to try to get in? And
I don't feel bad for them at all, because last year they wouldn't have even been in the playoffs.
And just where Kyle Seager has now put the Mariners on the board with a 2-run home run, and hit that one off of.
All right.
Get this name. Detroit's pitcher's name is Skubal. So Skubal gives up.
Skubal. He's a better pitcher than Turnbull.
So he gives up a home run.
Corey Kluber, speaking of possible no-hitters, Corey Kluber back on the mound doing his warm-up pitches here, going into the bottom of the 9th inning with a no-hitter through 8. We'll keep you updated. But as you were talking about, you look at the East right now. So the Hornets got crushed by the Pacers last night, 144-117. So the Hornets are eliminated. On the other side, the Celtics beat the Wizards. So the Celtics will be the 7th seed, and they will take on the Brooklyn Nets. I think that'll be a fun series.
Mm-hmm.
While the Wizards now have to play Indiana tomorrow to see who will get the 8 seed with a chance to play the 76ers. On the other side, in the must-win to move on, the Grizzlies beat the San Antonio Spurs, ending their season. The Grizzlies win that one in a close one, 100-96. They will take on the loser of the Warriors-Lakers game that just got going. The Warriors up early, 15-8. As my MVP Steph Curry off to a good start with the Warriors as they try to make the playoffs. It would be really interesting if the Lakers lose both of these and they don't even make the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
I guarantee you, if the Lakers lose today and then lose Friday against the Grizzlies, the NBA will never do this system again. If this season knocked out LeBron, it will never, ever happen again.
I think you're 100% on that. That's just everything is based around him and AD, and for him not to be playing as much as he was this entire year, I think it'd make for better basketball if they were out. Maybe. Yeah. I'm excited to see what happens, but I mean, who would you, if you were the Lakers and know that you're playing a little bit better, who would you rather? Would you rather lose against Golden State and have to play against
Phoenix,
Utah, or do you play against Phoenix?
Phoenix has been really good, but I would rather play Phoenix over Utah. As DJ scoops that up, throws it the first. There's an out. That's 1 out for Kluber.
I'm surprised you have.
Away.
I'm surprised you haven't shared your screen up there.
I don't want to get in trouble with the MLB for sharing their live feed on YouTube. That's why I am not doing that.
Yeah, and I understand, Lois. We know Keith was a huge Laker fan, and man, that guy, he loved those Lakers. But it'd be fun to see what the NBA would be like without the Lakers in it this year. I mean, I'm shocked.
Really interesting.
I'm shocked with how Phoenix has played. I'm shocked how Utah has played over LA and over Golden State. So, but I think you and I both knew Milwaukee was going to be in the top side. We knew Brooklyn was going to be on the top side. But how about the Knicks?
I don't understand.
I mean,
I'm going to have to watch NBA playoffs this year.
They're in the 4 seed. Right now, they've already locked in the 4 seed. That's just
it's in. They're the home team in a playoff series. It makes absolutely no sense. All right. So before the season, I had the Lakers over the Bucks. You had the Lakers over the Nets. Now that we have made the playoffs, are you changing your prediction?
Yeah, I have to. I'm going Phoenix over. Yeah, I agree with that, Eric, too. Yeah, they will crash. I think I like going with the 1 and 2 seed. I think that Utah has just been way strong. I want to see them win it. I think they're going to knock off Phoenix. It'll be 1-2.
That was scary. That was really scary. the angle of that ball to right field looked like it was going to drop. But Corey Kluber, 1 out away.
It's
you
crazy.
Have the top 2 seeds in the West. Who do you got in the East?
In the East, I'm going to stay with Milwaukee. I just like what they're doing. And as I just changed they are live feeding that game now on MLB Network. So I do. I like Brooklyn. I'm going to stick with Brooklyn. Brooklyn was my first pick. I like those guys. Brooklyn's going to win over Milwaukee.
Okay, I'm doing the opposite. I'll have Milwaukee over Brooklyn. It's Corey Kluber now with strike 1. And then I'm sticking with the Lakers. They could be eliminated in a couple days right now, but I'll have the Lakers over Utah in the finals. I'm going to keep the same finals I had. Lakers over Bucks. I'm not going to go any different right now. But I would love it if the Knicks and Nets somehow.
There we go.
So many no-hitters going on. It's ridiculous. We were supposed to be on yesterday. and we would have started watching the no-hitter against the Mariners. Instead, we go today and we get to watch live the New York Yankees and Corey Kluber with the 7th no-hitter, 6th recognized, but 7th no-hitter of the season. Eric, what's the record for no-hitters in a season, please, sir? What do you got? Who's winning in the finals?
I'm going to take Brooklyn. They just have looked good. I think Brooklyn is going to knock off Phoenix. Brooklyn knock off Phoenix. As much as I would love to go with your New York Knickerbockers,
it would blow my mind. There's no chance it would blow my mind. Come on, Knicks and Nets in the Eastern Conference Finals, just to make me sweat. It would be fantastic. We haven't done this yet. Obviously, getting out of the radio studio kind of messes things up. But you are listening to the R&R Sports Report right here on Facebook and YouTube. No, we are not on KLCZ for the summer. We are enjoying our homes. You already saw grandkids over there on Robert's side. My daughter's been running around. Addie and Robert had a nice conversation before we got started. We're having a good time. But make sure, if you are checking this out and this is your first time, to give us a follow on both Facebook or YouTube. Robert does a great job of updating our Facebook page with a bunch of local news. And next month, the week of June 14th, because you guys were so awesome and got us to 500 follows on Facebook, Robert and I will go 2-on-1 against the legendary LCSC tennis coach Kai Fong, who has already told me in an email that his training started yesterday as he is getting ready to crush us. And I guarantee you it will happen. But we're going to have a lot of fun with it. Score updates for you. Georgia Gwinnett did beat Hope International 12-4 to push that game to tomorrow to see who will make it to the World Series. And Vanguard and Faulkner now tied at 2 in the 6th inning. If Faulkner wins, they will move on, as they seem to make it to the World Series almost every year, so that would not surprise me at all. And again, Corey Kluber with yet another no-hitter in the major leagues. First for the Yankees, and I can't even think of the last one. I guess that'll be a trivia question for me because I can't think of it. Yeah,
it's going to be interesting to see how many we end up having by the end of the year.
Can we hit 10?
Yeah, and I asked you that, what was that, a week ago or 2 weeks ago? I mean, what's the over-under of double digits? I mean, I think I threw out the number 11 at you, but I mean, what's the over-under? Where it's?
Okay, well, here you go.
I'm gonna recognize 7. I'm sorry, Mad Bum is 7.
Okay, what do you think the overall record is? I just found this on CBS. For no-hitters in a season.
No-hitters in a season. I am going to
Eric,
shoot
you are wrong.
9.
It's the 7th one this season, sir. Madison Bumgarner counts. He should count.
I'm going to say 9.
You are close. There were 8 in one season. So that happened in 1884, where there were 8 no-hitters. But if you want to just count modern era baseball, the record is actually 7. And that has happened 3 different times: 1990, 1991, and 2012.
Wow.
Do you want to know what what the pace is right now for Major League Baseball? And that just went up with this no-hitter. But according to CBS yesterday, right, the pace for no-hitters in this season is 19.
That's crazy.
It's more than that now with what Kluber just did.
And we were talking over-under of 11 the other day. So,
and they also show on there that this is the first time since 1917 that we have had 5 no-hitters before June.
That is crazy to even think of what's happening with baseball. Do you start looking at the idea, of changing the ball? So like they were talking, do they start changing the threads back? Do they move the mound back like we talked the other day?
Yeah, mound's got to go back. I think that's where we got to go. Though, even with that, Kluber does not throw hard. He has a lot of movement, but he does not throw the ball hard.
So I mean, how much will that? We talked about that. How much will that affect these? And there's not as many what we call finesse pitchers anymore, but like Kluber moving back another foot. I mean, is he going to have to reteach himself how to throw the ball towards the plate? I mean, it makes you wonder. Because we know they can all skip it in there.
I actually knew the last no-hitter from the Yankees. I just didn't realize it was that. We haven't had any since. The last no-hitter for the New York Yankees was in 1999. Can you name the pitcher?
El Duque.
I wish. El Duque was one of my favorite pitchers of all time.
Well,
but it was not him.
Well, if it wasn't El Duque, then it was probably... Was Mr. Cone still there then?
Yep. That was David Cone's perfect game against the Montreal Expos, July 18th, 1999, which came a year after David Wells' perfect game in 1998. Oh, by the way, Dwight Gooden had a no-hitter in 1996 against your Seattle Mariners.
Sorry, Eric. I actually beat you to the punch that time.
Well, it was delay. 8 second delay.
Yeah, 8 seconds.
And congratulations, Wikipedia. They've already updated this and say with Corey Kluber on here.
Well, anybody can update Wikipedia.
But
that's one of the
worst at it. No, you definitely don't do college research on Wikipedia. Stay away from there. But internet radio show research, absolutely go to Wikipedia. If we're wrong, I can blame them. All right, let's talk hockey. We haven't talked hockey almost all season. I really wanted to watch hockey this season, and I just haven't. I don't know why. I guess I'm just waiting till next year when the Seattle Kraken gets started and I can switch allegiances and start watching that team, I guess. I don't know what it was, but I was really into it or going to get into it and then just didn't. It was really weird to look at the scoreboard today where you have Game 3 right now, the Capitals and Bruins. That series tied at 1. Capitals are up 2-1 over the Bruins. Game 2, where Carolina leads 1-0 in the game and 1-0 in the series. And then you had the Flames and Canucks play their final regular season game in the middle of the playoffs. I guess maybe that goes for seeding for draft picks and it mattered. Who knows? This year has been weird.
Yeah.
I will say, for two guys that don't really watch a lot of hockey, I think our predictions went okay. At least mine. I had out of the 4 division winning predictions, all 4 of mine finished in the top 3 of their division. Toronto is my only winner. For you had Colorado right. Edmonton finished 2nd, and Nashville finished 4th. But you also had the Philadelphia Flyers in your Stanley Cup Finals.
Yeah.
And they did not make the playoffs. So, but our Stanley Cup champions, Vegas and Colorado, both still alive right now. So we got that going for us. Will say that I looked into trying to go to a hockey playoff game this weekend, but of course Vegas is on the road this weekend. They're facing Minnesota Wild, and they're in Minnesota this weekend, so I couldn't make that happen.
That would have been cool to see. That would have been really a great adventure. Because I don't remember. Did you go to the hockey game with us up in Spokane?
No, I've never been to a live hockey game. And then to make it as a NHL hockey team, goodness.
Yeah, it was crazy, to see, that's one of the first sports that the wife ever watched. She liked to watch. She wanted to go watch them play hockey. And the first one we went to, there was no fights, no nothing. It was pretty good. Spokane ended up winning in overtime, 4-3. We went up the next year, watched again, and within the first minute, there was the fights happening. She was like, they're just letting them go at it. Why aren't the refs touching it? Have you never watched a hockey fight? So it was kind of
all part of the game.
Yeah. So I God, I just don't know if I want to stick with that same group, but I
Well, you
do have
definitely can't. You're the
Colorado.
Flyers, and they're out.
I gotta go Colorado then. I'm just gonna stay Colorado. I don't know who's gonna make it.
Colorado versus who?
Oh boy. Oh boy. I'm gonna go Toronto.
All right.
I'm gonna go
I
Toronto.
still had Tampa Bay and Vegas as my picks. We'll see how that go. Lightning right now up 2-0 in their series against the Panthers.
As Eric said, stupid Lightning.
Right.
Why,
Okay.
Eric? Why? I brought up the stat a little while ago about your Tampa Bay Rays having the most strikeouts in the MLB.
Just to try to get away from the no-hitter talk. That's fine. All right, let's move on to sports that do not get enough airtime.
I'm going to jump in with this one just before. I am so excited. IFL is back. The Spokane Shock is back and going. You know who owns the Spokane Shock, Randy?
Bill Gates.
Sam Adams. Sam Adams, former NFL player, owns the Spokane Shock now. I'm excited to get up there and go watch a game this year. They did end up playing the San Francisco Fighters. They went down and lost on Saturday 36-33. But it was a great game. Great to watch those guys get back into it. And that thing with that happening. They are going to be in Massachusetts this next weekend on Saturday, taking on the Pirates. Look for the game on CW. If you have cable, look on CW or on Dish. It should be there. Sorry, I had to jump in with IFL.
No, absolutely not a problem.
More football.
Let's talk some Aussie rules. I don't want to talk about Aussie rules football. Let's move on to golf. No, let's talk Aussie. God,
you got me into it, man. I sat and watched. I've been sitting watching. I even watched extra games this week because it was just like, okay,
I'm glad you have gotten hooked to this sport. It's a fantastic sport.
Yeah,
my team just stinks,
and they're rough. That's the thing. And Denise even sat in there, watched it with me there for a while, and she's like, "These guys are just bloodied and going to town." I mean,
it's such a fun sport to watch, and I'll keep saying that each and every week. Go watch Aussie rules football. Just don't watch my Hawthorne Hawks this year. Mm-hmm. They are complete trash.
Where are they at?
Trash.
They're on what, 16th on the ladder?
They're 17th. They're still one game up on North Melbourne, but they should be 3 games up. But they do give North Melbourne their first win of the season, as North Melbourne, the old Ruse, beat the Hawks 87-80. It was just so I couldn't even watch the game. It's gotten so sad, especially when just a couple weeks ago they pull off the upset against Adelaide. I'm like, hey, Hawthorne, 5 of their next 6 are against not so great opponents. They could be over 500 going into their bye week, and they haven't won since, and they keep looking worse and worse, and it's just brutal. But your Geelong Cats, you picked a good team to follow as they stay hot. They've now won 4 of their last 5.
Mm-hmm.
As they beat St. Kilda 68-47, currently in 3rd place in the ladder, as they are 2 games out of second, as the Western Bulldogs and Melbourne are just kind of running away with it right now. Melbourne is 9-0 on the season as they crushed Carlton 94-68. And the game that I really liked watching, at least the last few minutes of it, was Richmond and GWS. As Richmond, who is my pick to be in top 4, has had a rough start to the season, but they come back to beat GWS 87-83 in that game to get themselves to 5-4 on the year, and right now are in that top 8.
Yeah, they look great. I'm very. Do you think Melbourne has a chance to lose to Adelaide this week? As much as we were on Adelaide a little bit, it'll be interesting to see what happens. So,
honestly, with the AFL, anything can happen almost every week anymore. So I could say, could they? Sure. but obviously I will not predict it. I'm kind of trying to look at Melbourne's schedule real quick to see the next time. Actually, in 2 weeks, the game that I will definitely be watching, Melbourne and Western. And I know Eric will be. I wonder if
Eric's
Eric will be staying at. Well, that's 2:50 in the morning for Eric, so I don't know if he'll stay up for it and watch it live, or if he'll watch it the next day. But that game is going to be fantastic. Again, DVR, and I think that's what Eric was talking about, counting down to round 11 for sure. Speaking of AFL on TV, here is your rundown. If you want to watch Aussie Rules football, this is how you can do it without illegal streaming services, which we do not promote here on the R&R Sports Report. On Fox Sports 1, and hopefully you have DVRs because these times are nuts. But on Fox Sports 1 on Friday at 11:30 p.m. Pacific time, you get Adelaide and Melbourne. See if Melbourne can make it 10-0. If you have Fox Sports 2 on Friday at 8:30 p.m. decent time, Carlton against Hawthorn. Of course, it's been a good time. Luckily, I will be in Vegas and busy, so I won't have to watch.
Well, hey, listen, I got Othello against Clarkson Bantams. I should be done about that time. I will make sure I get home, and I will start texting you about the scores.
Bring it on. And then also on FS2, Saturday at 2:30 in the morning, Fremantle and Sydney. Go at it. That might be 11:30 p.m. on Friday. I might have put the Eastern time and then put Pacific, but because that seems even late. Maybe not. Who knows? And then on Fox Soccer Plus, which I don't have, but if you do, you can also get on Friday at 9 p.m. You get Geelong and Gold Coast. Saturday at 8:30 p.m. Pacific time, you get GWS and West Coast. And on Sunday at 2:30 a.m. Pacific time, you get Essendon and North Melbourne, as North Melbourne will now try to go for 2 straight wins after their huge win against the amazing Hawks. Just what a crap team.
Yeah, you didn't typo that one there. Fremantle does play at 2:40 in the morning against Sydney, yeah. So it's so that'll be a DVR one. So
absolutely.
For sure.
PGA will be a fun tournament. I won't get to watch any of it, but the PGA Championships in the Kauai Island Resort take place this weekend. Joel Damon will tee off at a brisk 4:33 a.m. Pacific time on number 1. How much of golf do you think you're going to watch this weekend?
I would love to say I'm going to watch in the morning, but I don't think I will be up that early to watch him tee off. But I'm hoping to get some in. But, like I said, it's basketball season at the high school level. Do have a couple of trainings. I'll probably have it up, kind of trying to keep an eye on it. But I'm very interested to see. I mean, and we don't promote gambling or anything like that, but a lot of the sports people are shooting, thinking Rory McIlroy is the guy. Who do you got this weekend?
I'm going Jordan Spieth. He got his first win in a while just a couple weeks ago. Has looked really, really good these last couple of weeks. So I'm going to go him. However, this is one of those tournaments that I think a complete no-name can come up and get their first major win.
It's a coin flip on who's going to get there. You're exactly right. I'm going to take Dustin Johnson. Dustin right now 18-1 odds, and those odds coming via CBS Sports. I think it could be anybody in that top part. You could even look at John Rahm. You could look at, as much as we don't follow Mr. DeChambeau very much, but I mean, it could be anybody. Right now, Rory McIlroy is favored to win this tournament at 11-1 odds. And our buddy Joel Damon is favored. If I was in Vegas, maybe I'd lay some money down, Randy. Joel, finish top 10. Maybe you could get that. Right now, he's 250-1.
Crazy. Obviously, when you've only won the one tournament, it's difficult for people to have you up there in odds. Maybe I'll put $1 down while I'm down there. But the odds will be way different by the time I have a chance to do it anyways. But it'll be interesting. I'm excited to see the highlights when I get back. PBA, their season has come to an end as Kyle Troop, that number 1 seed, did go on and win the PBA playoffs as he beat Sam Cooley 3-1 in the finals. That is his 8th career title, which wins $100,000 this weekend. That brings his single season money total to $469,000, which is a record in the PBA. But the cool moment was Sam Cooley, who only got the 1 win in the finals, and he had to shoot a 300 to do it.
Yeah, it was great sitting there watching. I watched it live, so it was awesome to see. I think bigger to see Kyle Troop finally getting where he getting out of his own head and actually going back to being that guy of being the crazy guy on the approach, being that guy that's he's just was in that funk where he was struggling down there in Vegas and he just couldn't get anything going. But shout out to him breaking Walter Ray Williams' single season record of career earnings in a single season with 469.
Crazy. On the NASCAR front, what a weekend for Hendrick Motorsports. As they finished first, they finished second, they finished third, and they finished fourth in the Dryden 400 in Dover. 1, 2, 3, 4 finish. They're only the third organization, to ever pull off that feat. And it's the first since Roush Fenway Racing did it in Homestead of 2005. Alex Bowman wins the race. He's now the second driver with multiple wins this season. Kyle Larson completely dominated that race. He has been fantastic all season long. He leads 263 of the 303 laps, but a late caution put him to pit road. Alex Bowman won the race off of pit road and then led the rest of the way. Did you get to watch any of this race, Robert?
I did not get to watch any NASCAR this weekend with as much going on. It just did not fall my way.
Well, make sure to watch this Sunday as NASCAR is going to the Circuit of the Americas for the first time ever. An additional road course on the schedule. I watched Kyle Busch do a drive-through video where he was kind of showing off. There are some ridiculous corners at this place.
I like the road courses. I really do. I like to watch these guys do something other than going around. I mean, trust me, I love Darlington and them racing so close to the wall. I love Daytona being long and stuff like that. But I like to see those guys have to be 100% on their game, left and right, in and out some of these tight hairpin corners.
Absolutely. I was looking at the odds too. Again, I'm going to be in Vegas. See what I can do. Of course, you'd want to pick Chase Elliott. He's fantastic on the road courses, but his odds are only 225 or plus 225. So it's kind of risky with 30-some drivers in the field to only get basically 2-1 on your money. I kind of want to put some money down on Eric Amarola because he's pretty good at road courses. He's 100-1 odds, but he has had a garbage season. He's had some bad luck, so I don't know if I'll go that route. And Rumbar wins the Preakness. I didn't care.
No, I think I think more people were trying to figure out what was going to happen with Medina Spirit, and he ended up third. So maybe all the drug things are in the past. So,
well, he's been banned, right? He can't bring any more horses to the tracks.
I don't think so. I think what he has out there right now. So it'll be interesting to see what Bobby does.
Who knows? All right, sir. It's time for This Week in Sports History.
This week in sports history for the week of May 12th through the 18th, we got not as much as normal, but we still have.
And real quick, according to ESPN, Baffert was banned from entering horses at the Belmont.
At Belmont.
So not all together, but at least in the Belmont.
Okay. All right. So in 1913, the Washington Center, Walter Johnson ends his MLB record scoreless streak of 56 innings. In 1920, that same Walter Johnson, actually the same day, there's something for him with May 14th. He ends up winning his 300th game. So congratulations to him at Detroit. 1941, Joe DiMaggio started his 56-game win streak on May 15th. In 1955, Mickey Mantle hits 3 consecutive home runs of at least 463 feet. That's a lot of feet of home runs there. 1958, Stan Musial. I threw Stan in there because you mentioned his name last week. We were trying to figure out the relationship, but so I threw in a little Stan Musial this week. He is the 8th player to get his 3,000th hit. Ernie Banks in 1970 hits his 500th home run. Hank Aaron becomes the 9th player to get his 3,000th hit in MLB history on the 17th. Let's throw some tennis. We haven't taught any tennis in a long time. Maybe it's just because we're gearing up for Kai Fong. Mm-hmm. But 1979, Chris Everett wins a win streak of 125 matches on clay comes to an end. She gets it snapped, which is crazy to think about. 1983, Reggie Jackson hits first major leaguer in history to bat and get 2,000 strikeouts. So crazy one there. 1984, pitcher Steve Carlton hits a grand slam home run. And let's do one more. Let's go old school. 2001, 101-year-old Harold Stilson becomes the oldest golfer to record a hole-in-one as he aces a 108-yard par 3.
See, Robert, you still got a few more years to get that first one.
Yeah, I do. I mean, I've been close a couple of times, but I guess I'm going to have to practice a little bit more.
All right. You got something to stump me with?
I do. I don't have an A, B, and C this week. I have an A or a B.
B.
All right, B. All right. How many home runs did Steve Carlton hit in his 24-year career?
Let's go A.
Okay, I'll read the other question. You tell me which one you're going to answer. How many players have hit for 3,000 or more hits in Major League history? I figured that one was easier.
I know Pujols was the last one to do it. It's like 25. So let's go. Say 25.
You're close. 32. But you did hit the bonus. The bonus question for that one was, who was the last one? It was Albert.
I knew Pujols was the last one.
So here's the other part of the bonus to that one. Who's the closest one now to 3,000 hits as of Monday?
Ooh.
As of Monday.
Who's been playing for a really long time and is not there yet?
Here, I'm going to give you a hint. He's one of my favorite players, one of the best attitudes on the field.
Well, Beltre's already there.
Beltre is already there.
How about, God, he's been playing so long. I don't know if he has that many hits, though. Nelson Cruz.
No, he was not there. And this one is actually, as of Monday, he was only 117 hits short. That is Miggy Cabrera, one of my favorites to watch.
Yeah.
Miggy is awesome. He is at 2,883 as of Monday. But the bad part is he only has 17 hits on the season, and he's batting 187. Does he get there this year with 117 more hits?
I just don't see it. Yeah, I was way off it. I'm looking at going down the list, and I'm not even seeing Cruz, so I was way off. There he is. Nelson Cruz only has 8. He's not even to 2,000 hits yet.
Oh, yeah. Let's see.
Eric says 15 homers for Carlton. I'll say 10.
You were. How about both of you split the difference? He had 13.
Oh, and Eric's closer, so that sucks.
And he had 3 home runs in 1977. But he did bat over the Mendoza line when he batted.
There you go. All right, that is going to do it for the first summer vacation edition of the R&R Sports Report. Hey, we got to watch a no-hitter live on this show. Fantastic time. Next week, we will have the 10 teams that will be in the field for the NAIA World Series. We'll break down that schedule for you and let you know when you'll be able to watch the Warriors. We will hopefully have updates for the first round of the NAIA Women's Golf Championship, as well as baseball, basketball playoffs, NHL playoffs, Aussie rules stuff, and whatever else we can come up with to fill 2 hours of time. But again, thank you guys so much for allowing us to hit 500 follows on Facebook. Our punishment will be well worth it, and we will. It'll mean. I mean, it means a lot to me, and I know it does for Robert. And getting crushed by Kai Fong, it's totally fine. I'm totally cool with it. I just want to thank you guys again very, very much for allowing us to bring you some sort of entertainment, I guess, as we're two schmucks talking sports, as we try to give you some local news with it as well. Maybe we'll get some guests on here next week. We're kind of flying by the seat of our pants in the summer and trying different things. So bear with us, give us some ideas, and let's have some fun. But for now, that's Robert. I'm Randy, and we are out.